The show this month is all about the buzz in the ag world. We're going to talk about hemp, I'm going to talk about sustainability long term, and all the resources that we have. Yeah, this is Bill Cook, and I'm really excited about welcoming you to our new show, Ag Disclosure. And it's a whole new look on rebranding our show, our YouTube video show to you to bring you more value, more information, and in a better way. I've got some really good guests coming on tonight with me. But I want to give you a little information about John Ortiz, because this used to be the Bill and John show. John has took a new position with national sales manager with one of the companies, big yield company. So he's on the road, he's out there in the field, so he'll be coming on the show from time to time, give us an update, give us a lot of good information. But tonight, my guests are Brian Roach, and he was at what we call our convention, our VIPS convention this last week, and also have Brian Kurz. He was here at the convention, so we're going to bring you a lot of that good information. And we also have David Yoder. So we're going to have this great visit, a little bit about how we bring more quality and more good information to you under our new disclosure, Ag Disclosure branded program. So we're really excited about this, and we're going to have a little clip right now with Brian Roach all about commercial agriculture and what you can look forward to maybe in the next 6 months, and how you can price your crops.
Sellers of corn, everything you sell is probably marked by the futures Chicago Board of Trade, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. So pretty much that's what sets your futures price, and then your premiums and your basis work off of that. True? Where he wants to buy it is cheap, and where you want to sell it is high, correct? That's true. That's always going to be true. But he can use the Board of Trade to protect that price, and you can use the Board of Trade to protect your selling price. That's what the Board of Trade does. China's corn use is growing at a faster rate than any other country in the world. Just look at the chart here, moving exponentially. Part of that is ethanol expansion in China. Perhaps what they really need in China is not our soybeans, but maybe what they're going to really need is the corn. You can see here the bean picture is not all that friendly if you compare it to the corn that I just showed you. Who else is growing crops around the world right now? Very little is where I was headed with that. Thank you. Very little. If you think about the southern hemisphere and the populations in the southern hemisphere, relative to the northern hemisphere, those are drastically different, aren't they? And so the stock market is beginning to rally here, and it's probably going to continue to rally, because bad news might actually be good news. What happens if the dollar falls? All things being equal, your products become what? Cheaper to our foreign buyers. Our results improve as data inputs meet extremes. So if my commercial money flow indicator says it's time to sell or buy, my daily chart says it's time to sell or buy, the crop cycle time of year is correct. What's one thing that would matter to you if those are all saying yes, yes, yes? Price, right? Price has got to make sense too. And so if the price is profitable to you, or profitable to hedge as the buyer, then we think that makes a big difference.
Well, I hope you enjoyed those remarks from Brian. We did a little survey, and when we did the survey, Brian really came in the top at that survey. It was really, really good information. So I hope you enjoyed that survey. So we're going to carry on with my two great guests I have with me this evening. I have David Yoder, and he's going to be sharing a lot of things, a lot of stuff that came out of our conference, and we're going to have Brian Kurz. Brian's going to be sharing some stuff with us on what came out of that conference. And then when we get done, we're going to have a little bit of a discussion on how it really affects you. We're going to talk a little bit about the hemp, and we're going to talk about sustainability, and just some really cool things on how we use our resources. But first, I'd like to just kind of chat with Brian over here, and you can tell a little bit about your company, your Renegade Research, all the stuff you're doing, and then just jump right into some of that cool information. Hey, cell phones work, don't they? You know, that's one thing that we're still learning to do is turn those darn cell phones off. Brian.
So, like Bill said, we had our first annual VIPS conference. I got to speak as one of the speakers for both VIPS and as well as a little bit on the research. On the research side, again, the company that I operate is Renegade Research, and it works very closely here with a lot of the companies, Big Yield, West Central, some of the others that are running around here too. A great thing and great partnership that we're beginning to make is with AgWorld, and we were pleased to have Judah Kofer come speak. And Judah did an exceptional job really talking about how we can have data management mixed with our aerial imagery and what value and benefits that brings not only to the farmer himself, but also to VIPS as a tracking and tracing program.
Well, and I think they got branded too as I think we're calling that like VIPS Pro Plus.
Yep.
That's going to be a real opportunity to catch data all over.
Oh, it's going to be a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity for VIPS. It's a great opportunity for me as a researcher as well. Very, very much looking forward to how this is going to integrate with what we're doing here with the VIPS program. And like I said, it's something that we branded and something that we're kind of releasing this year. I think we're going to have 10 select customers that we're going to start it off with. And then once we get it lined out, we're going to move the ball and get rolling with it. We also had a couple other great speakers. We just heard a little bit from Brian Roach, really talking about market trends, what he sees coming in the next couple months, how he sees some of the reserves of certain grains in the market. And
well, it didn't look like soybeans. He wasn't talking real favorable about soybeans.
No, he sure seemed to think that the soybean price would either sustain or drop some, but it was very encouraging to hear about what his thoughts were on corn price, not only on non-GMO and organic, but as well as conventional production.
Sure.
He's seen that from all aspects of it, which actually kind of rolls us into one of the other guests that spoke at the conference, which was Mark Hudson from Majestic Milling.
Yeah, Mark, that's pretty exciting because we got a lot of our farmers that signed up in VIPS, and I mean they're getting some nice premiums, and he's committed to, from the VIPS farmers, he's committed to buy 100% from the VIPS verification. And well, I think also there's another system out there, GMO verified.
Yep.
So he's got to buy something that tracks and traces. So that was pretty cool for a lot of farmers that they know now he's going to buy X amount of bushels from them.
Well, and he was actually one of the very first supporters of the VIPS Pro Plus program.
He was.
To be able to see the inventory that he is buying.
Yeah.
And so it's very encouraging to work well. I think all of it's going to blend very well together.
Well, and that kind of goes to the topic that you were talking about, you know, this new branded program on how he's actually signing up on it to look at the inventory. Mm-hmm. And so now, you know, he's starting out buying 1 million bushel plus, and so he can see the farmer's inventory, and that's just cool as all outdoors.
Well, and it was great to hear from him, especially talk about just the sustainability of the market too, with the growth of the feed industry, how important his hub as well as other ones are going to be in this mix, and really at the center of the production in this area, and probably, I'd say, it's safe to say, probably 200-mile radius is very key on production. But anyways, at the conference, we got to hear a lot of great information from other guys too. There was a hemp lobbyist that kind of gave us a short little teaser about what's going on with some Missouri legislator. There was also Joe Cape from Cape Law. He gave us some insights too on kind of some things going on, things that are affecting it, both with on the chemical side with dicamba and other things, as well as just being able to protect your assets. A few general good things to learn. We also had Skeeter with ARM. With Ag Resource Management, and they came in and spoke a little bit. It's kind of a joint effort between him and another gentleman, and they talked about, you know, not just, especially with rising interest rates right now, and farmers kind of being tight with some of the prices, you know, staying fairly low, you know, about building this relationship with them. I mean, it was just, I'll tell you what, for a first annual conference, it was phenomenal. Yeah, it really was.
Did really good, really good. Well, I'm going to swing over here a little bit and talk to David Yoder. David's another one of our guests, and I think he's going to be plugging MOA's conference, and then a lot of the things that Brian was talking about is going to show up there, and there's some cool things that's happening with you.
Yeah, we're going to be at MOA show here at the end of January. It's going to be a really good show. We're actually putting on a roadmap to organics workshop. So that'll be interesting.
That'd
if
be
you
cool.
guys want to come talk to us and see us, and we'll sign autographs and all that good stuff.
What do they bring? They bring an organic weed so you can sign on.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, anything.
Hemp weed. We want hemp, right? Or,
Yeah.
No, water hemp or hemp.
Not water hemp.
Not water hemp.
Not water hemp. That's a cuss word.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be talking, a little bit of our roadmap to organic. We went over that on our VIPS conference too. All the different practices on organically growing corn, soybeans, wheat, that sort of thing. We're talking about burners and rotary hoes and cultivators and all that good fun stuff that we all like to play with.
You'll probably talk a little bit about some of the yield enhancing products that these guys are going to be able to actually use. And how you've tamped those ROIs down were pretty reasonable products to use.
Yeah, we'll be again touching base on all our big yield products. That's more of an organic show, so it's going to be more focused on organic products. But we can talk about our other products.
Well, you got a new title too with the big yield folks. You're kind of the organic guru now, or
yeah, I've kind of been moved into that position. I'm focusing mainly on organic production and products, and it's kind of become my specialty, I think. So,
well, I know I get I hear a lot of things going on, but one of the things that a lot of customers are, again, those buzzwords that we'll be talking more about, but a lot of those things are like these burners are really catching fire, right?
Yep.
That's a pun, they're really catching fire.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. So we'll be talking about all that, and then of course again it's MOA Farm Show, so we'll have all kinds of vendors, and there'll actually be some pretty good buyers there. I think Mark will end up being there.
I think on he's going to be talking about buying all kinds of crops, and for his chicken business.
Right, and if you're not growing corn or soybeans, I would suggest you come too. I mean, they cover everything from truck gardens to your own personal garden, flowers. I mean, it's a really good show, and it covers a lot of bases. So.
Well, and I think, I don't know whether we'll talk about this before the next show, but you'll also, I think what I'm hearing from John is, John Ortiz, what I'm kind of hearing from him is, at the farm show, at the Kansas City Farm Show, you're going to have maybe an area where you can have some training on, I think one of the big programs out there is this smart plot where they get to plant, and you're paying them to plant, and there's some pretty cool things that you can do now with kind of combination between, the big yield, and I think isn't Yield Plus involved in some of this?
Yeah, so Yield Plus, Renegade Research, and AgMax have teamed up to bring you the Big Deal program.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, this is one of a kind, and it is sold like hotcakes.
I hear it's just the hottest thing since gee whiz out there, because you're actually paying a farmer to plant. And then they have the opportunity to use this Ag World new technology, which lets you look at their fields and get their data, and
it is state of the art, from the data management side to the imagery to even the equipment that's going on the planter.
Yeah.
I mean, what we're doing, everything is going to be top of the line, and yet we're coming in and we are taking that cost, we're bringing you on as a researcher, and for me that's exciting. That's a big key thing. It's really helping.
Well, and you guys have kind of shared what's been going on. You shared a little bit from VIPS, and so I think what I'd like to do is just kind of have a little bit of open discussion now, and that we've already kind of started into that open discussion. But I think the one thing that came out of the VIPS conference and the buzz in agriculture right now, there's several things going on in the ag world. And again, it's about the financing, and it's about sustainability. But one of the hot topics right now is this, what's going on down here in Missouri and all around the states in this hemp production, and getting hemp back into into full production well into the Midwest where it once was. So that's one of the things that, I don't know, you guys have, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that hemp production. I know you've been doing a little bit of research, and I know that, you know, there's talk about Renegade Research having a research plot here this year.
Yep.
And having some hemp grown here in this part of the world.
Well, and we're really trying to stick close to, you know, just learning as much about this as we can. But especially just from some of the stuff that I've been watching, some of the videos that you've shared with us, as well as other things we found on our own. I mean, the possibilities with hemp alone it's almost like, you know, 50 years ago when we thought the uses of soybeans were fairly limited, but we built an entire structure around all these multiple uses that have completely changed the way agriculture works. And I believe that hemp may be the next soybean.
Well, and again, you know, it works so well on the organic side.
Well, yeah, and you know, well, first of all, it's new to Missouri, you know, so like Brian
it's coming back. You know, we used to be one of the big hemp growers in the United States.
Well, it's coming back. It's new to me. Let's put it that way. Yeah. You know, it'll be an awesome product to play with, and one of the things I really like about it is how it can clean up your soil. Yeah. You know, the way it sucks up the nutrients and how it reacts, and you know, just learning about what it's going to take to grow it. I'm more of a mechanical guy, so I'm interested to see some planters and some harvesters, how all that works, and you know, it's going to be fun to play with. So, you know. Well,
yeah, and you know, of course, we're all excited about the hemp because it does the numbers that they're talking about as the industry grows. Leaves hemp in it to be competitive with corn and soybeans.
Right.
And that's what's exciting, that we would have a crop. And now the cool thing about that crop is, no disrespect, but corporate America don't have it don't have the stranglehold on that crop, where, you know, you have all the royalties and all these things, and it costs so much. Can't get this, can't get that. So it's kind of a breath of fresh air, as long as, you know, we're able to access those seeds and that material.
It is. It's a wide open market right now. Everybody's kind of clamoring, trying to get their hands on something or get something going, and you're right. It does. I think that's part of the problem with this hemp coming to Missouri and nationwide. Really, it's. You know, you're competing against, when you get to the medical side of it, you're competing against the pharmaceutical drugs.
Right.
When you get to the lumber side of it, you're dealing with the lumber lobby and the oil lobby.
Now the hemp is, we don't want to get people confused. Hemp and cannabis is two different products. Right. And they're like oil and water. So they're, you know, I think it's going to be easy for our farmers to get in the hemp business. And when you gotta get into that, you're exactly right. When you start into that medical, you're going to be fighting Eli Lilly, and you're going to fight a lot of big bucks that you're going to be after some of their margins, and they're not going to give that up easy.
No, you're going to be hurting somebody's pocketbook somewhere.
And that corporate America, when you hurt their pocketbook, they get real scratchy.
They do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and if you don't mind me jumping in here, too, and you look at things, you know, Brian Roach really touched on how much reserves of other products that we had out in the marketplace. Well, bringing in, especially the production side, even if the margins, you know, if the margins are just as good or better, you know, they're in the ballpark of corn and soybeans, being able, like David said, to have a fixation of certain problems in the soil, as well as being able to pull some of those acres that are being crammed into corn and soybeans, reduce those down some, and honestly end up raising the price of what you have in more rotation.
Well, I'd like to bring one topic to bear a little bit, because, you know, we're fighting these discussions on fertilizer, and I know that I know Yield Plus, and those guys are just done a phenomenal job of getting rid of all those salts and all those bad irons and things in the fertilizer, and so that's one of the things this hemp thing does. But it just looks to me like, you know, farmers just need to rethink the way they've been using, you know, the commercial chemicals, the commercial fertilizers, some of those things. You know, you're doing the in-furrow tests. I mean, there's a lot of things going on right now that's just really changing those ROIs and lowering those costs. I mean, we're seeing, 20, 30% out of the production costs right here on the research that you guys are doing.
Yep.
So that's going to be big. We are going to run out of time, and I hate that because we're having such a great discussion. But the two things I would like to just touch base on is the sustainability. You two guys are young guys, and you're Bob in production agriculture, both of you. Mm-hmm. Family farms, both of you looking at what your life's goals are, how your operation is. So the big question is sustainability. How does somebody in agriculture that's wants to stay in agriculture, how's this sustainability work? Where do you guys see that? Your opinion?
I see it personally. We're going to organic.
Your family farm.
Our family farm. We are going organic, and that's one way for us to make enough income to stay on the family farm.
Well, you really don't have a choice, do you? Because of limited resources.
Right.
And see, that's the other point, is sustainability and resources. Resources, capital. Resources, land. Resources, labor. So
we have some resources. We have labor, and we have some land. Our capital, we've actually bought a couple of farms recently, so our capital is down,
Right.
and to help those numbers a little bit. So we don't have a lot of land, but we have enough. We can make some pretty good income on organic production.
And your whole family's your whole family's doing this. It's brothers and sisters and moms and dads and everybody committed to growing your organic operation. Mm-hmm. So if we look through organic hemp in there, that might be really good.
I'm all about it.
So same question. You're doing the same thing. Of course, you're into both organic and you got a strong position. Your family's got a strong position in commercial agriculture, cattle, livestock, just the general farm. How do you see that? You're here. Your family farms, 100 and some miles away. Brothers in. How does these families grow in this marketplace we've got right now?
I think personally, sustainability, it's really going to be, actually kind of goes back to ag world. Something they're incorporating that has not really been, I think some of the farmers, especially ones that are the generation before me, they spend as much time just looking at, okay, I have to get this done. This is what needs to be done. No matter what we do, we're going to make a profit. It just depends on how much profit. But getting started, especially with low access to capital, low access to equipment, but just really the drive and ingenuity to go after it and get it done. We've been penciling things out on things that we outsource, things that we keep ourselves, on access to certain labor of certain times of the year, what we do on each individual thing. And some pieces of land, organic is going to maximize what we're doing.
Right.
On some pieces of land, non-GMO is going to maximize what we're doing. But the biggest thing, and it's actually something we touched on a lot before, was the access to the knowledge and access to good people around us. And I think that's part of the reason, like you said, my family farm that I grew up on, 250 miles away. But right now, we're bridging the gap, and they're coming and doing things here. I think the biggest takeaway to kind of bring this all back circle is to adapt and to utilize what's around you, analyze it, see what's useful for it, press forward, and see what's next.
Well, we're going to close the show, and it's been fun, and I hope we're going to bring really good value to you. Things that we'll as we go forward, we'll get a little more specific on numbers a lot of times, and our guests when we bring them in. But one of the things that in our closing is, I'm really, because I'm an older generation, and we're passing things on to the newer generation, and the question is, how do you make family? How do you fix families? How do you fix families that can stay in agriculture? How do you pass it on? And that's one of the topics we'll have at some point. But it's quality people. How you pass it on, relationships, wives and husbands, and everybody coming into the operation, and how all that gets fixed. That's a big challenge.
Yes, it is.
And so I'm kind of torn between Fiddler on the Roof and Last Man Standing. So those are my two. Those are my two things that kind of motivate me. I can actually relate with both of those. Now I don't know about you young guys. I don't know if you probably don't watch Last Man Standing.
Oh, of course I watch that.
Oh, you do?
Oh,
okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, hey, we've got hope for the future. You know, the thing that's really exciting is young people are our future in this country. And, you know, I think that, and, you know, I don't want to get too warm and fuzzy here, but, you know, the biggest thing, you guys can weigh on this to me, but the biggest thing is you got to have a relationship with the Almighty. You got to have a relationship. I mean, whoever your God is, I know who mine is, but whoever that is, you know, it builds character, it builds ethics, it builds morals, and, you know, it also gives you a way, you know, to make good communications one generation to another, because, you know where you're really wanting to go. It isn't always just about that farm. So I don't know if you want to weigh in on that or not, but that's kind of how we're going to close.
Well, sounds good.
All right. Thank you very much, and we look forward to you coming back and seeing us next month on our new show. And we're really excited about sharing lots of stuff with you and giving you a lot of disclosure on ag disclosure. Thank you very much.